Hi there, welcome to the latest episode of my 10-minute moan. And as you can probably tell, no picture, no painting of the Waverley behind me this time because I'm not in the house. I'm on my travels and I'm first stop is Manchester Airport for a flight out tomorrow. So, doing this from my cosy wee hotel room before I put myself into my pit for a wee couple of hours shut eye. And the topic of this 10-minute moan is yet another beaten SNP who's blaming Nicola Sturgeon. So the story is taken from the Daily Express, where they're doing a report on a journalist who spent a bit of the campaign with the SNP activists and a bit of an insight into their night at the results event. So Ben Bolin wrote up the piece, and his headline is, "Another beaten SNP MP blames Nicola Sturgeon. The damage was already done and not by us," right? These people are all immune to blame, and they're getting very good at pointing at other people, which has given me many a laugh since Thursday. So the subline is, activists at the Glasgow Count grew increasingly furious as they watched the former party leader on the big screen on an election night, and the mood in the SNP ranks grew sour. I must admit, I enjoyed watching Nicola Sturgeon on the telly, and I would have really liked to have watched Nicola Sturgeon on a big telly in a room full of SNP MPs waiting to hear they were getting horsed out of Westminster. That would have been a good place to be. So anyway, the story goes, an insider's report from the Glasgow Election count has revealed the anger directed at Nicola Sturgeon by both beaten SNP MPs and party activists. Top Scottish journalist Danny Garavelli spent several days with candidates in Glasgow's southwest, writing an insight-packed diary for the London Review of Books. The SNP's Chris Stevens, seen as one of the most popular members of the NAT group, lost the seat he had held since 2015 to Labour's Zubair Ahmed, and I was particularly delighted with that because it's the first morning in a while I woke up without Chris Stevens or an SNP person being my MP. It's a nice feeling. Although the result was closer than most others across Glasgow and the Central Belt. Garavelli was at the count on election night at the city's Emirates Arena and reported that as Labour victories elsewhere in the country, Rutherglen, Falkirk, East Renfrewshire filtered through, the mood in the SNP ranks grew sour. There was no nostalgia for Sturgeon here. Great, isn't it? The report continues. In the Emirates, SNP anger was stoked by the sight of Sturgeon on the big screens, sitting on the ITV panel alongside George Osborne and Ed Balls. There was no sound, so the focus was on her facial expressions. "Look at her laughing," one activist said. "Why is it that the people who make the mess go on without the care, while the rest of us have to pick up the pieces?" Yeah, she didn't look too bothered. And one other thing that I picked up on when I did have the volume up was the way she spoke about them and they when she was discussing the SNP, which is as if she's trying to distance herself already, which is absolutely fantastic. The reporter sat alongside Stephen's wife, the former Labour councillor Eileen Colleran. She writes, "I asked her to what extent the night had been a mirror image of 2015's Labour wipeout. It's almost identical," she said. "Everybody here wearing a red rosette and celebrating should enjoy it while it lasts. Because it comes around, the wheels fall off, and one day they'll be the gracious losers too." After posting her article on social media, however, former Labour candidate Kat Headley, now vice chair of these islands, the pro-UK organisation, disagreed with Colleran's view. She said, "I don't think there's anyone in Scottish Labour that doesn't appreciate the fickle nature of the electorate in 2024 given the past 10 years. The difference is the SNP post-2015 did not comprehend the tide going back out again." And I think that's what ended them, because I spoke about this before. See, when you think you're invincible, that tends to be the worst thing you can do, because you don't believe anything. You don't believe polls, you don't believe feedback, you've got a shield about you, feeling you're invincible, and you just don't see these things coming. And listening to these people and the feedback from them at the count must have been good fun to be there for anybody who, like me, despises the SNP. It would have been worth the entrance fee if you were allowed to buy a ticket. And the feeling seems to be from everybody, every single person that spoke out about the demise of the SNP seemed to be wanting to blame Nicola Sturgeon, which I think, although it's probably fair and accurate, none of them want to take any blame for herself. And each and every one of these people telling everybody else how bad their party is, were out champing doors on the Wednesday, asking people to vote for them, telling them that they're fantastic. So I don't really have much pity for them. I don't really have much empathy for them, because it's a bit contradictory. And the amount of, particularly, the only one that I've got any shadow of respect for is Joanna Cherry, because she told them straight about gender stuff, that it was all nonsense at the time, and was lambasted for it within her own party. So I think her talk now after losing her seat is fair cop. But the rest of them, none of them whatsoever said a single bad word about their party, or a single bad word about Stalin's wee sister Sturgeon. And I can't respect people like that. I would far respect, see people that have actually, the few that walked out and left the SNP and maybe went to Alba, or I think one went to Labour from memory, get more respect for them, because they stood by their convictions. Whereas these people, these were all champing doors for 5 weeks, telling everybody how wonderful the SNP was, when deep down they knew they were rank rotten, right? And if they had got their 91 grand a year jobs, you would never have heard from them. They would have chapped the doors, told everybody they were fantastic, took their votes, took their seats, took their wages, and shut up. And I can't respect people like that. It's no, I don't think it's the way people with any morals would act, or any standards. These people are pretty shit, to be honest with you. I think anybody in life that stays at an organisation, taking the money, knowing it's terrible, and saying nothing until they're parked, really don't have any respect for them at all. And I don't have any respect for any of them, apart from a wee bit of respect for Joanna Cherry. The only thing I say a wee bit of respect for her, she could have walked across the floor and joined her Alba colleagues, or Labour, or sat as an independent if she was really that displeasant about the party she was representing. But at least she did talk out, so I'll give her a wee bit of leeway for that one. So I wonder when this will stop. I don't think there's many, if any, of the SNP MPs that lost their job haven't badmouthed the party or any other individual since they lost their seats. And that's gone something, because there was 30 odd of them. But I might do a wee recce next week, if I've got time, and just look through the list and see who's shouted and who's stayed quiet. And I probably have more respect for the ones that stayed quiet, but they'll maybe be the ones that are in the groovy gang that think they're going to have a wee comfy seat come Holyrood, you know, when they expect to keep all the seats in there. Can you see it coming? If they last it, because of the financial predicament the party's in now, and it's, again, I'm seeing more and more things that I've been saying since February about losing their short money. I've seen an article in the BBC. I reported earlier on about one in, I can't remember what paper it was. Oh, it was in the Spectator. But you're now seeing like the BBC all piling in with these reports about them losing their short money, and the difference. I mean, they've lost £1 million of short money, plus their over £1 million of short money actually, plus their ministerial levy, which I worked out today, it's between £12,000 and £13,000 per MP, times 39. It's nearly £500,000. So you're looking at losing about £1.5 million. The figure I gave the day after the election, and it was a guesstimate, and it looks as if it was bang on. Times 5 years, because they'd be 5 years before they can add to their number of MPs and get more short money and ministerial levy, which means they've lost £7.5 million. This isn't out the government, this is out the party. This is a party that hardly turns that over, much more than that over in a year. I think they'll turn over £7 or £8 million. Their accounts will be due out. They'll be in the Electoral Commission now, and they'll be available to the public within the next 2 to 3 weeks. And I don't think their turnover's much more than £7 or £8 million. They've lost that over the next 5 years, and £1.5 million loss of income to a thing that lost £800,000 the last time there was a set of accounts made available. Can't be a good look. And I think my estimate of putting them into administration will run through. And I only think it's only a matter of time before the administrators and the liquidators come chapping. And then they'll all run, believe me. So, if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe and hit the notifications button. And the most important thing of all, unless you're the SNP, these two-faced shites that have lost their job, or any of the ever decreasing cult members that they still have. Everybody else, have a great day. Cheerio, bye now.